What's up guys, my name is Liam and today we're going to be taking a look at the RAWM SA-SH01PRO. I've already taken a look at the MH01 on my channel and it's really similar to a Viper V3 Pro clone. So a lot of people have been asking me to take a look at this, especially since there's a lot of hype built up around the rumored Viper V3 Pro Mini. So how does this stack up against competition, and more importantly, could this be the perfect gaming mouse for you? Let's check it out. Before we get started today, I did want to let you know that this was sent out to me by MetKeys. However, everything you're going to be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. Included inside the box, it does come with an extra set of skates. This also does come with a 1K receiver and a dongle adapter, but they did also include the 8K receiver in this as well. So when you did get this out of the box, it was just paired to this. So I did have to go through the software and pair it to this one. Also does come with documentation, and it does come with a set of grips. However, I've talked about these grips in the past. These are really weird feeling. They don't feel very grippy at all, and they kind of feel like almost a cardboard feeling across the fingers. Over on the bottom for the functions, you do have your on and off button right here, DPI button in the middle, and over here it does allow you to choose whether you're going to use the 2.4 gigs for the receiver or if you want to use a Bluetooth mode. There is dongle storage down here in the bottom middle if you wanted to store the 1K receiver down there. And I do somewhat like the skate design on here. It is bigger style skates, so you could put some type of dot skates or corner skates will fit on here just fine. And as you can see, it does come with these black style skates. Not really such a big fan of these as they do feel a little bit slower and more muddy. For the shell integrity, I have been having one minor issue. I'm kind of getting some flex right here, and it's kind of been one of those things where it'll appear sometimes and then just kind of go away. So I'm not really getting that much of an audible cue from it, but you do kind of feel it there when I'm gripping it. Sometimes you do get just a little bit of movement, but aside from that, nothing else on the left side or anything like that. This is kind of a thicker feeling, so even if I were to push really hard down here in the middle, you don't really get any type of bend. And I did actually open this up to mess around with it, trying to fix that, and I am kind of still having just a little bit of that issue with the flex there. But the coating that does come included on this, it does feel really good. It has a rubberized feeling and it has been really grippy. As you can see, it does kind of gather fingerprints pretty easily on there. That's not something that I necessarily mind that much. I do prefer something, even if it does get dirty, I like the way that this does feel really grippy. This is, however, using mechanical switches. I'm not sure what the switches are that were in here. If I do find it while I'm editing this video, I'll go and put the name up here on the screen for you. They are this green color and they have white dots. This still does have the easy switch swap function capability in it, so really simple to use. You don't need any type of tools or anything like that. I mean, you do need it to open this up. You do need to remove the bottom skate. You can leave the top skate on, but there's two screws underneath here. Once you take those screws out, it's pretty easy to pry the shell apart and remove it, but you just simply pull these switches out and you can just place them right back in there. So any type of mechanical switch does seem to work just fine if you want to put something like the Huano Blue Shell pink dots in there or any other type of switch. But the switches that do come included in here, they do feel pretty good. Nice and lightweight, snappy. I'm getting a little bit of play there. As you can see, that's not even activating the switch. So a bit of pre-travel there. Clicking from the center, the post-travel, not too bad, but once you do come up here in the front, there is a bit more play and just bend all around up here in the front. They feel a little bit looser. When it comes to the quality of these clicks, you know, I don't really get a whole lot of left to right. There's a little bit there. When you come up to the front, I feel like you do get just a little bit more for whatever reason, but don't really notice too much here in the middle. You can hear a little bit of going back and forth. Same over here on mouse button too. So I do feel like the tolerance on this, you know, could be tightened up and buttoned up a little bit more to make this feel a little bit more premium. As I've been using these clicks, I have not had a noticeable issue except for when I get down here to the very front. If I were to push really hard in the front here on this one, I am getting a little bit of that almost sticky feeling from probably the Mylar pad on the top. I'm not sure if there's like some type of adhesive, but I'll try and demonstrate that for you when I do the click test. But other than that, all around, like I said, that's just something if you're clicking really hard up here and only in the very front. Even if you click pretty hard right here in the middle, I'm not getting any of that sticky feeling. And the implementation front to back on this, honestly pretty lightweight from the back here and still pretty easy to spam. For the scroll wheel, these steps, they do feel really light. And for the center scroll click, it is a little bit on the lighter end, so nice and easy to spam. The side buttons over here, a little bit of play, no matter where you're clicking it from. And then once you do click it, there is some post travel there. You can't push it too far into the shell, but I do notice just a slight rocking back and forth. So when it comes to the overall feeling of this, you know, there are just a few discrepancies here with the shell flex. Again, a little bit of the sticky feeling, not necessarily something that I noticed the way I grip the mouse and when I'm using it, but I do overall feel like the tolerances on this can just be tightened up just a little bit more to make it feel a little better. So let's go ahead and jump into the sound quality check. For the weight and balance, I'm getting a pretty solid front to back and even left to right. On my scale, it does look like I got this coming in at approximately 56.5 grams. This does appear to be using the same software as the MH01 that I've already gone over, but this software does allow you to adjust the click to bounce setting, and then you're able to adjust your DPI, liftoff distance, polling rate. And then I was also able to use this software to pair the 8K receiver that did come included with the mouse. As for the performance, I'm still having the same issue with this one as I did with the MH01. Unfortunately, I tried hooking it back up to my XLAT again, and it was not recognizing it. I did try a bunch of different things, and unfortunately the firmware for the XLAT hasn't been updated in a few months, so I will keep my eye open for that. If anything were to change in the future and I'm able to pull any type of numbers off this mouse for the performance, I will definitely make sure to let you guys know. This does look pretty similar to the Viper V3 Pro, just a mini version of it. The Viper V3 Pro clearly much larger, but just the flares and everything on these look pretty similar to one another. So coming over to the bottom, the curve profile from front to back does look pretty similar on both of these. And then when coming over here and taking a look at these from the rear, even the curve profile from the top mid down to the sides doesn't look that far off from one another. There's kind of a quicker gradual fall off from almost a more of a rear hump feeling right here, where this one just kind of has that smoother feeling transition going down from the top middle to the rear. Alright, then lastly, I will go ahead and throw it up against the Razer Viper Mini Signature Edition. As you can see with these next to each other, the scale on these does actually look pretty similar. For whatever reason though, the SH01 does feel a little bit smaller. Like when I'm talking about the grip width right here in the center, the Razer Viper Mini does still feel a little bit more wide, even though I feel like on the Viper Mini, the curves feel just a little bit more aggressive, where the sides on this do feel just a little bit more flat. And then looking at both of these from the rear, you can see the top curve profile from the top mid down to the sides, not really that far apart, but there's a difference feeling similarly on the Viper V3 Pro, where I kind of feel like you get a little bit more of that pronounced hump right here. And again, this one just falls down smoother from the top mid to the rear. Alright guys, so that about wraps things up on the RAWM SA-SH01PRO. I have been really liking the shape of this a lot, and this has got me hyped up to see a potential Viper V3 Pro Mini. Clearly there are still some minor issues with this thing as far as the build quality goes. I do still feel like, however, this is a pretty cool package coming in with the 8K pulling rate. The easy switch swap function has been really cool, and even with using this with my time with it, having a good coating and having such a great shape, I did find myself getting pretty dialed in with it, and I did enjoy using it. But I do feel like they are on the right path with this thing if they can just button up some of the minor issues with this, and even potentially, I keep saying it because I feel like I just say this about every mouse nowadays, but even if they can get the weight down on this a little bit more, then this could be a really promising package. All right guys, so if you have any questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.